My parents took us to the Paris Catacombs. Now I'm an only child. When my parents took us down into the Paris Catacombs, I was 8, and my sister was 5. It was a guided tour. Nothing should have gone wrong. Even at 8 years old, I was afraid to go down there. The street signs that attracted my parents to visit were marked with skulls, ghostly faces, and other macabre images. I knew that wherever we were going would be a dark and terrifying place. My father, dead set on seeing the catacombs, plied me with a simple promise.
Daniel, if anything bad happens down there, I'll buy both of you any toy you want from the toy store after the tour is done.
My sister Sadie was frightened like me, but my father's gambit worked. I was now tentatively feeling okay with the idea of going down into that maze of crypts. My sister noticed my growing acquiescence to the idea, and it emboldened her, too. She piped up now.
I want a big dollhouse.
Only if something bad happens.
My dad smiled. The tour was unremarkable, except that my sister and I were small children. The guide pointed right.
Here's where over 300 plague victims were stacked without names.
He pointed left.
And here's where 18 innocent women were burned as witches.
We saw hanged men, fractured pieces of tortured dissidents, and piles of bones from the dead who could not even be honored or remembered at all. If you consider a fleshless skeleton to be a corpse, then it is no exaggeration to say that my sister and I each saw literally thousands of dead bodies that day. The lights through the tour-sanctioned area were low and ambient in their spookiness. I lost my sister in an innocent way, and it was a simple mistake. I can't blame anyone really, except for my parents for taking us there in the first place. There was a tradition with this particular tour group. In a grand cavern at the end of the tour, there was a single powerful light overhead. From here, I could see the web-like passages that snaked out in a dozen directions from the cavernous room we now occupied. The tour guide stood on a natural stone pedestal and cordially thanked us for attending the tour. Then suddenly, with gasps and screams from the tour group, the big light overhead went out. Underground like that, a power outage means true and perfect darkness. Your eyes will never adjust and begin to function. You will only hallucinate images as your brain demands information from optic nerves that genuinely receive no light. Suddenly a new light cut on. This time, it was a spotlight focused near where the tour guide had been standing. Now, a second man appeared alongside our guide. He was wearing a dreadful monster mask and a cloak like the Grim Reaper's. It was obviously just a joke in retrospect, but it was frightening enough in this ancient and underground boneyard to elicit screams and real panic from the adult tourists. I did more than scream and panic, though. Frozen in absolute terror, I pissed my pants and clung to my mother. The big light came on, and the tour guide told everyone to calm down.
It's just a final scare,
he explained. The man in the mask revealed a friendly and affable face.
It's something of a popular tradition, as a way of saying goodbye,
he added. The adult tour members began to laugh, scold each other for being afraid, and unwind from the prank. It was only when my mother began screaming senselessly and in a blood-curdling pitch that the tension rose again.
Sadie,
she wailed when words returned to her. My mother was shouting my sister's name loud enough to echo through the cavern.
Sadie, please. It was just a joke. Come back right now, or you'll get lost.
As we took inventory, it was proven that Mom was right. Sadie had fled into one of the web-like passages that led out of the cavern. We searched for her in carefully organized parties for more than 9 days, but we never saw her again. My dad made good on his promise. He bought me the biggest teddy bear from the nearest toy store. I still remember how he tried to be brave when he knew I was looking. He didn't want me to lose hope. I caught him later, though. I pretended to be occupied with my new bear, but I watched Dad instead. With tears running down his face, he went to the back of the store and bought a dollhouse for Sadie, too.